Anyway, I do hope that this year's proms have succeeded in adding some new dimensions to the lives of all of you that have witnessed its cornucopia of music. And I hope that you will all prosper and thrive till we meet again for another great festival next year. Thank you.
It's very nearly over for another year. I don't think anybody here really wants to go home. We've all enjoyed ourselves very much indeed this evening. Andrew Davis descends from the rostrum to greet Sidonie Goossens and Dame Gwyneth Jones, our soloist tonight. And you have noticed how gracefully he credited all the leaders of the different departments of the BBC Symphony Orchestra who had solos in the Fantasia on British Seaside. It's all over, the 1991 season of Henry Wood Promenade Concerts. The audience here have tremendously enjoyed this occasion, and indeed I think it's true to say the whole season, which has introduced so many important musical events, so many marvellously enjoyable evenings of music, performed by the greatest artists in the world and many of the finest orchestras. Sidonie Goossens and Gwyneth Jones return now to take yet another call from the promenaders. Andrew Davis in the background. Kiss from Sidonie for Bela Dekani, the leader who's retiring this year, BBC Symphony Orchestra. Everybody on the platform standing. BBC Symphony Chorus, the BBC Singers and the BBC Symphony Orchestra. So all it remains to say is that we very much hope to have your company at the first night of the 1992 proms. It'll all come round incredibly quickly, I'm absolutely sure. But just for the moment, from the Royal Albert Hall, we'll say good night to you.
And there's more music, albeit of a different kind, still to come this evening as we enjoy the talents of the solo jazz guitarist Joe Pass on the Brecon Jazz Festival. That's at 23:50 in 20 minutes.
This is Japan.
Today, the world's most dynamic economic force. A society seemingly Western on the surface, yet deeply rooted in Eastern tradition.
Japanese isn't really so much just a language as a whole way of thinking, a way of feeling, really a way of being.
An introduction to the Japanese language and people starting this Sunday at 16:30 on World Service Television.
Drama this Sunday on World Service Television.
You'll have no bother, Carwyn, believe me. They'll be swarming all over you.
I don't want them swarming all over me, Mr. Trout.
Mr. Preston! Mr. Preston! Yes.
Hello, girls.
Hello.
Syria says it is optimistic that the efforts to free another hostage soon will be successful. Earlier, a Lebanese cleric close to Iran said a Briton would be released within 24 hours. South Africa's leading politicians sign a peace agreement in hope and some anger. Good evening. The Syrians tonight added their weight to reports that the process for the release of another hostage is underway. The Syrian foreign minister confirmed what sources close to the kidnappers have been saying for the last 2 days, but he would not say precisely when the release would take place, and British diplomats said earlier they had no confirmation of predictions that the next hostage to come out will be in the next 24 hours and will be British. The two remaining British hostages are Jackie Mann, whose colour photo was sent by his captors on Wednesday, along with a message that he is in good health, and Terry Waite, the Archbishop of Canterbury's envoy, kidnapped in 1987.
These latest predictions come from Jibshit in South Lebanon, the home of the kidnapped cleric Sheikh Obaid. While his distraught parents continued to plead for his return, the man who replaced him, Sheikh Ahmed Talib, said a Western hostage would be released within 24 hours. He said the hostage would be British. At Beirut airport, Sunny Man, flanked by British embassy bodyguards, has returned amid continued speculation that her husband Jack will be set free.
I have no special information. I just feel this time that he will be released.
Syria's foreign minister would not comment specifically, but he said he was confident that the release process would continue.
The process of releasing the hostages has already started. And we are optimistic and we are happy that our efforts would be successful.
A statement from one of the hostage groups 3 days ago had a picture of Jackie Mann attached to it, a sign that they could well be preparing to release him. But the British Embassy in Beirut this evening has urged caution, saying that they have no reliable information, for instance from the Syrians, that a release is imminent. Michael Macmillan, BBC News in Damascus.
President F.W. de Klerk, Nelson Mandela and Chief Mangosuthu Buthelezi have signed a peace agreement to try to bring an end to the violence in South Africa. But there have been more township killings during the day. Thousands of Chief Buthelezi's Zulu supporters defied the accord by carrying spears, shields and clubs to the signing. Under the agreement, a multi-party peace committee will be formed to investigate the causes of the violence. All three parties and the security forces will abide by a code of conduct which outlaws verbal or written attacks on political opponents. No political party is allowed to run a private army. Community-based self-defense units are permitted. And there's a ban on carrying weapons at public gatherings.
A shocking start to the peace signing. Thousands of Chief Buthelezi's Inkatha supporters brought spears, sticks and knives to the conference hotel. As President de Klerk arrived, several of his ministers said they were angered by this damaging imagery. Nelson Mandela avoided direct condemnation of Inkatha's actions, but for several hours Chief Buthelezi himself resisted pressures to persuade his followers to go home in peace. Far more positive, the picture of South Africa's three major leaders side by side for the very first time, hoping to end 7 years of factional fighting in which over 10,000 have died. One by one, 23 political and union leaders signed the accord.
We are under no illusions that this accord is a magic wand. Our signatures alone cannot light the path to peace.
A point picked up directly by President de Klerk.
Honours will go to those who, as from this day, ensured that this accord becomes reality.
Finally, Archbishop Tutu led a prayer ending a day of both acrimony and accord, with an agreement now to be tested on the ground. Nothing illustrates more starkly the enormous difficulties that are now to be faced trying to translate the high ideals of this peace convention into genuine political tolerance in the townships. James Robbins, BBC News, Johannesburg.